Hello there, you're welcome again to another fantastic edition of What a Wow. And of course, you know What a Wow is a flagship program under the Brooks Media International Studios, that's TBMI.Studios, that is aimed at showcasing excellence of individuals in their various fields. And trust me, today I have another powerhouse. I call him a trailblazer, and he is here in the studio to, of course, share his stories with us. You'll understand that there is never a result without a process. And that is what a Wow is all about. Showcasing the process so that everyone can know that there are steps before getting to that particular result. So it is my singular honor today to introduce to you my guest on What a Wow. None other than the huge powerhouse and trailblazer in the education field. But I would not do that until I read out his resume to you. Of course, you know that my guests always have a very long and exciting resume. So I'll do that right now. So our guest today is a visionary educationist and entrepreneur. He is the esteemed owner of Great Generation Cambridge Schools, a renowned educational institute with campuses in Osogbo, Osun State, Ado-Ekiti in Ekiti State, Abuja, and Offa in Kwara State. His schools are distinguished by their adoption of the Cambridge curriculum and reflecting his passion for fostering global citizens. Our guest today goes beyond education. He is also an international recruiter dedicated to create job opportunities for Nigerians in countries across Europe, the United States, Canada, and of course, in the UK. Yeah, the UK is part of Europe, right? He is deeply committed to empowering individuals to become global citizens, and he's a passionate advocate for men's health. Wow, 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 that's a whole lot. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Mr. Tayo Olaiwola.
Thank you, Mr. Victor.
Good morning.
It's my pleasure to be in your studio this morning.
Thank you very much.
But I can say, what a wow.
What a wow, of course.
From what I've seen so far, I'm encouraged, and it's beyond my expectations.
Wow.
So it's a what a wow indeed. Thank you very much, Mr. Victor.
Thank you very, very much, sir. So we would like to know a little about you. Now tell us about your journey into education. What truly inspired you to become a school owner, and what led you to establish Great Generation schools in both Osogbo and Kwara State, and I believe recently in Ado-Ekiti and in Abuja.
Yeah.
So tell us about
Thank you very much, Mr. Victor. I love to tell my story because behind every story, there is a glory. It's unfortunate that these days people don't want to have story before glory. And there's no way you can succeed in life without a story. So I'm proud to be in your studio this morning to share my story. Let me just give a brief, introduction about myself. I was born in Osogbo about 50 years ago. Wow. I attended my primary education in Osogbo, St. Francis Arusem Saliaro, Osogbo, and I attended my secondary education in Laro Grammar School, Osogbo. When I graduated from my secondary school, I failed out. Everybody to say I passed out. But I tapped myself. I said, Bayo, you failed out. I had one pass in Yoruba language and others F9. In fact, I made up my mind then that I want to go into Fuji, want to become a Fuji musician. And as a result of that, but thank God, to be precise, in 1994, one of my uncle came from Kaduna and he took me back to Kaduna, and I started my journey again. And after that, I rewrote my examination, and I was able to gain admission into higher institution in 1995. Now, what am I saying is this: when I gained admission, I understood what we call self-development. I sat down, I developed myself. So I had passion because I have failed in that area before. And that is what is driving me today into education system or education business. And I want to tell you, the only weapon, according to Nelson Mandela, that we can use to change the world is the education.
That's correct. That's very true.
Education. Look at our streets today. Everywhere is dry because there's no school. There is no. In fact, when I traveled to South Africa, I saw something at Pretoria. They wrote there that if you want to destroy any nation, destroy the education system of that nation.
That's correct.
Because when the education system is corrupt or destroyed, definitely what will come out of that system will be corrupted.
Product, yes.
Thank you very much.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So we are not halfway gone, and yes, the studio is already soaked in atmosphere of this deep revelation. Now, why did you choose to implement the Cambridge curriculum in your school? And so far, what impact has it had?
Like I said, there is no any glory without story. When I had my first son 21 years ago, I took my time to study education system in our country. I discovered that it is not that's what I want for my children. I want something different, because I discovered that the children of our leaders in Nigeria, they don't attend the same school we attended. So that prompted me to say, what is the reason behind? Why is it that the children of governors, children of ministers are not attending the schools that I attended? So I have that urge that then let me now make more research to the kind of school these children attended. So when I discovered the school they attended, I told myself that my children is going to attend the same school with the children of our leaders in the country. Okay. So when I had my first son, when this boy was 3 years old, he's 21 years old now. When he was 3 years old, I carried him and I said, great, that's my first son. I said, you will not go to university in Nigeria. By the grace of God, you will go to university in the United States of America. And I'm telling you, as I'm talking to you today, is the United States studying cybersecurity.
Wow, that is wow.
So I started making research of what kind of schools that this boy can go to give him the results in the future. So I discovered that he can go to schools that write international examination like SAT, like Cambridge Checkpoint, like Cambridge IGCSE, like IELTS. So these are the requirements of these schools abroad. So I started planning to give my children that kind of education system. And according to one of my teachers, he said, when you see a leader will know the way, a leader will go the way, and a leader will show others the way. So that's what prompted me to start Cambridge education, that I have known this way, I've gone through this way. And by the grace of God, as I'm talking to you this morning, my son is in Paris, my son is in England, that's in the United Kingdom, my son is in the United States of America. I have 4, 1 in America, 1 in Paris, that's in France, 2 in England.
Wow.
Through this education system that I give to them.
Wow.
So I don't want to keep this secret to myself. That's what prompted me to start International Cambridge School, which we are raising up many others to join them very soon.
Wow. Now, so interesting. Now, there's something I picked from what you said. You said from the age of 3, you had already said your son wasn't going to attend schools in Nigeria. I want to believe that at that stage, you probably did not have the capacity that you have right now to be able to send 4 children outside the country. What really was the drive within to say that even if at this stage the means is not there, but there was belief that in truth this can be achievable?
That is vision. Sorry, I want to quote the Bible, sir.
Okay, yeah.
The Bible says, my people perish for lack of vision. So where there's no vision, people perish.
That's true.
Now, it is not all about money. And I continue to tell the parents in my school today, the difference between a rich man and a poor man is vision. When a rich man sees beyond, a poor man will complain. So that vision is what is driving me, or what drove me, or what driven me to achieve these results. I never see obstacles on my way. When I come across an obstacle, I see them as a stepping stone to greatness. And that is what has helped me so far. In fact, when I was talking to you, when I set that vision, I was owing 3,800 naira in my son's school that time. Institution, I have not paid it. And I did not let that set me back. So I had the vision, I walked through the vision, and I achieved it by the grace of God.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Now, talking about vision advocacy, it's more clear that you are a visionary and you're an advocate for vision. Now, you're passionate about making people global citizens. What does this mean to you, and how do you achieve it through your work?
Okay. When we are talking about global citizens, we are talking about giving people global opportunities. Now, we are okay. Let me just try and share this. Let's say, like 8 years ago, I was sleeping in my room, and a friend of mine, we went to school together. She just called me one day. She said, "Brother, please, I want to start recruiting nurses to the United Kingdom." I said, and when I was thinking of who can stand on my interest in Nigeria, I thought of you. He said, because I know that you are a visionary. So she introduced everything that that we need in order to recruit nurses to the UK. And to the glory of God, that time we went to all the states we have in Southwest for recruitment, including Lagos, and we recruited nurses. In fact, as I'm talking to you, we recruited over 200 nurses to United Kingdom to work through international examination, and they are doing very well today.
Okay, that's interesting. As a recruiter too, I probably would say I want to tap into this international connection. It's a beautiful thing, trust me. So I like to know, and I believe our viewers would want to know this now. How do you stay ahead in the competitive educational and recruitment markets, knowing fully well that there's various schools, there are various recruitment organizations? How do you manage to stay ahead? And another quick question is, why should anyone choose your school over the several other schools that are available in?
Let me quickly share this, how I started the school. I started Great Generation Cambridge School, then I started with Montessori. I started Great Generation Montessori School about 15 years ago. And I started in my sitting room. I did not even have money for rent that particular time. I started with my wife and my daughter. That my daughter is in the United Kingdom now. So I started and I told my wife, I said, we want to start a school. And the school is going to be international school. So my daughter
in the city room.
My daughter was my first candidate, my first student. Her name is Virtue. People know this story very well in Offa, because the school started in Offa. I started from local government. After local government, I came to state government. To state. After state, I went to federal. To let you know that you can start small, but you should think big. Start small, but you should think big.
Don't remain small.
You can start in a shop, but please think of a mall. That's the problem we have in our generation. People don't want to grow. And in the process, you have to learn. Because when you learn, you grow. So now, when I started with my daughter, about 1 week, I spoke to the neighborhood. We are starting a school, we are having a Montessori school. People started asking me, what is the meaning of Montessori? I started explaining the meaning of Montessori to them. Montessori is a system of education where you allow children to do it by themselves. You don't allow children to you don't do it for your children. You allow them to do it by themselves. So within a week, we have like 5 in the neighborhood. And I have this strategy. Let me say it to the world to hear. I don't believe in marketing or advertising your school. I believe in your learners or in your students to market your school for you. When you bring your learners together and you teach them extraordinarily, when they go out, they display whatever you teach them there. And that will bring people to your school. And that has been the secret. So that's why in Great Generation, I used to tell the parents this thing. I said, see, this is not a school where your child will just pass examination, but your child will learn to pass the examination. When there's a difference between the two, there are some schools now that you don't even need to know anything before you pass the examination. But in Great Generation, you will learn, because Cambridge is not anybody's mate. Cambridge established since 1209. That's about 800 and something years now. 800 and something years. You have 816 years now. Now, if you look at a system that has been existing for more than 800 years, you can't just, say you want to influence them. Of course. You have to teach your learner to pass the exams. So, my marketing strategy is that I make sure that I prepare learners for global examination, international examination, pass the international examination, and give them international admission, process the visa, and every other thing they need for them. When they get out there, other parents will just ask, man, I don't want to send my children to school where they will graduate and they'll start learning tailoring. They will graduate and start becoming a cadre on the street, man on the street. They will graduate and start riding korope and this. I'm not saying those things are not good, but it's not supposed to be for the graduates. When you go to school, to acquire knowledge. That knowledge is those knowledge are expected to be used in developing our nation, not in now riding korope as a driver. So that's the strategy we're adopting. That when we prepare your children to write international exams and they pass international exams, of course, the neighbors, the friends to that candidate will bring their children to our schools.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a whole lot of strategy. One of the things that I can take home from that is, first of all, if you have an opportunity to start, you are free to start as small as you can, but don't remain small. Just think globally. I believe you've said so much about your involvement in the educational sector, but more importantly, you are an entrepreneur. You are a business person. And there's one thing that is certain about business is a world of things that you could not have full control over. Now, I'd like to know, and I believe our viewers would also want to know, I believe that there are times when you have experienced a little bit of setback, a little bit of failing on a particular thing, a little bit of disappointment, when things do not work out the way that you plan them to work out. How have you been able to stomach those things and then pick yourself up and move on? What are your steps? What are your practical steps that you have taken to go beyond just that disappointment that you have experienced?
Thank you, Mr. Victor. There's no way in life that you will not experience setback. But I think one of the things that has helped me is the kind of knowledge that I've acquired about failure. Somebody said, don't allow your background to put your back at the ground.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Don't allow your background to put your back on the ground or at the ground. Now, I experienced setback, disappointments. Maybe I should probably just brief you this. Last year, when the school resumed, I was far in England. I was in the United Kingdom as at resumption last year. And the news came to me that one of my head of school resigned unannounced. And she has been used to parents that even when parents don't see me, they don't care. They are so used to this head of particular school. And she resigned without telling me on the day of resumption. I was so disturbed. I was so, disorganized. But something came to my mind that, why are you worrying yourself? In fact, as a result of that resignation, almost half of the school left. Half of the school. But I was not discouraged. That is why I advise people to grow big, not to jump big. When you grow, there's a difference between growing and jumping. It is good to grow to success. When you grow, anything that happens, you'll be able to manage it very well. But when you jump to it, there's a law of gravity. There's tendency to come down. So when challenges come my way, I don't see it as challenges. I see it as opportunities. I see challenges as opportunities to learn and to grow and to achieve more. By the grace of God, that school I'm saying now, the one I just explained to you now, we have recovered. But supposing that when it happened, I now accepted that, failure or that setback, that is failure. Somebody say you are not a failure until you fail to try again. Please, I want to admonish you, people that are coming, please, never allow setback to set your back on the ground. Don't accept failure. It's not an option. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. That is a whole lot. Never let failure or setback set you on the ground. So don't remain where life might have thrown you. So pick yourself up and get right back on track. Okay, we are gradually edging to the climax of this conversation, and I think the last thing I would like to say is, what is that word that you have for somebody out there who wants to achieve your kind of results? I know that as a visionary, you might obviously have this mind that you are not where you want to be, but a lot of people might envy where you are right now and feel like that's their apex. So what is the word that you would have for someone who dreams to be someone like you, who wants to own a school, who wants to be able to recruit for companies outside the country? I believe that you should probably be talking to me as well, because I want to know. So basically, we usually have this on this program where you just look at the camera and you know that your message is directly to that person who is hoping, who is dreaming, who is wishing, who is preparing, and is longing for your status right now.
Thank you, sir. My advice for coming entrepreneurs is that they should have a vision. And after having a vision, they must try as much as possible to run with the vision. Then I want to advise that they should be definite with their vision. They should not do everything or all things. I choose to be an entrepreneur and I focus on education today simply because I understand the impacts of education to the world. So whatever you have chosen to do, please don't be discouraged. Whatever comes your way, do it with all of your mind. Set deadlines for your achievements. When you achieve one particular thing, don't let it get to your head. that I've achieved this thing. No, like one of my mentors taught me something. He said your best it's yet to be revealed. It doesn't matter the heights you go, you have not yet reached your best. So if you want to become an entrepreneur in the future, please set deadlines, get precise vision. Don't do all things. Like a Jackson, he was interviewed. I listened to one of interview one day. He said, "I have music." When they asked me what is music, he said, "I have music." So whatever you have chosen, please choose one area of business you want to venture into and learn more about it. Please make sure you have mentors, people that will teach you from their experience, when they fail, how they manage failure, when they succeed, how they manage because failure needs to be managed as well as success. If you don't know how to manage success might kill you. So please have a mentor, follow them, do what they do, and you get the kind of result they get. Thank you very much.
Wow, that is a wonderful one. That is very, very, I have a lot of takeaways already. Ensure that success does not get into you. Ensure that failure does not limit you. Ensure you pick yourself up, and ensure that you own that thing that you want to go. Just taking the cue from the quote of Michael Jackson, who said, "I am music." Mr. Bayo, we will definitely be calling you again, because one of the things that we did expose here is the aspect of Mr. Bayo that has to deal with men's health. And trust me, he's blazing the trail in that particular industry. But today,
I want men to live long. It's one of my dreams, because men die young.
It's true.
It has been globally accepted that men die young. So I've taken my time to study why men die young. And maybe one of these days we should.
Yeah. We will definitely be bringing you back on this show to talk about that. So with this, we have come to a conclusion of this amazing conversation. What a Wow would always reveal the process to our viewers, knowing fully well that a lot of people envy success. And from today, we have discovered that success could also be a killer if it is not well managed. All right. Like I would always say, blaze that trail. Don't be afraid to do that thing that you ought to do, knowing fully well that if you do it, you may succeed, you may fail. But if you don't do it, you are certain to fail. Until I come your way next time, it's been wonderful hanging around. And if you stayed as long as this, I want to say thank you very much for being a part of the conversation. Do well to leave a comment as to what was the main points for you in this conversation. And also you can suggest some topics that we could come up with in our subsequent episodes. And remain your favorite, A to the I to the R to the HIS, a his. And I'll be seeing you next time. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful time.